like your beauty gets you in the door, your femininity keeps you there.
Okay, but what I'm trying to say is, I personally, my opinion, I believe it goes beyond that, because I think that it's also what you bring to the table, right? Because if the only thing you look at a person is how they look and the fact they can cook for you and the fact they can do all these things that your mom does for you,
Right.
but if you get some sort of illness or some sort of unexpected factor that happens into your life that you can't control, are you still going to be with that person because they have other factors, meaning nurturing, loving, funny, relationship?
I mean, if we're going to look at the numbers, men are far more loyal when it comes to sticking by a woman's side than women sticking by a man's side.
I'm not saying they're not. I'm specifically speaking about the fact that what the conversation you guys were having regarding the looks and regarding the cooking and regarding being a woman and providing and whatnot. I'm saying when it goes to the long term and when that other person, God forbid, gets something that is uncontrollable, and that you can't and you know it prevents them from doing these things. Are you still going to be with that person? And are you still going to see the value?
The numbers show
That's all I'm saying.
Men rarely, if ever, initiate divorce and breakup. Okay, even when the woman's being a raging bitch. So what I'm saying is that it's women that initiate most of the breakups. So I get that. Girls say all the time, well, I do all this, I don't have a career, whatever, and the guy's with me, and then all of a sudden, you know, he leaves me for a younger, hotter girl. Statistically speaking, the likelihood of that happening are slim.
Well, personally speaking, my father, who has Alzheimer's, right? My mom has been married to him for 40 years and she hasn't left his side. So again, I guess it just depends on how you were raised, and to the person who just commented. You're using your personal experience. You're asking my opinion, and that's my opinion from my personal experience.
And your personal experience may or may not sometimes align with the facts and the generalities of how the world works.
That's
but
fine.
to attribute how the world works in general based off your opinions and your personal experience is a very foolish way to live life. What I'm saying is that in general, when women have the opportunity to leave the man, they typically do, and they initiate an overwhelming amount of the breakups. Men don't. So I'm saying this fear that you have that the guy is going to leave the girl because she's aged and she's no longer
I don't have that fear. What I'm trying to say is...
You made it as an argument.
No. I'm just stating my opinion. You're stating your opinion.
What you were arguing for.
I'm arguing my opinion, and my opinion is that it's the long term that matters. That's all I'm saying. And it's in the long term that matters that unpredicted things happen, and when they do, you have to handle that, and it's the way you handle it that's how the relationship lasts. At the end of the day, none of that other shit matters. If you have two scenarios, let's say something unpredictable happens on one side, another one happens on the other side. If you were to take both scenarios where the guy's with the girl and the other one, the guy's with the girl, if something happens to the man in the first scenario, there's a higher likelihood that woman will leave that man versus the other way around. Now, your mother's situation, she's stuck by her dad's side. Fantastic.
That's awesome.
But in 2023, when women have the options that they have and they're incentivized to go into divorce court and get all the benefits of being in that relationship, they will 100% seize that opportunity and leave the guy most of the time.
I think it depends how you were raised. I think it depends how you were raised.
Okay, well, the way that we're raised in today's society, right? Again, your old values might be fantastic, but in a Western world, what do women tell each other? Girl, do what's right for you.
Go, queen.
And most of the time, it's to leave that guy.
I'm younger than you, so I could tell you what this generation is. And like, personally, from my experience and my opinion, that's not the case.
Okay, so what is it then?
That's all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying.
What is it then?
Again, I mean, I keep saying my opinion, the way I was raised, it wouldn't be to leave the man.
You do realize the way that you were raised is an anomaly in 2023.
But that's why I keep saying it's my personal opinion, which is what you're asking.
And it doesn't align with reality.
That's fine. But you're asking me for my opinion, and I'm just giving it to you.
Your opinion doesn't align with reality is my argument. Two-parent households are rare in 2023.
That's fine. That's fine. And I understand it's rare, but that doesn't mean that it should be excluded because it still exists.
Yeah.
It's an exception to the rule and statistically insignificant to the argument at hand.
It still exists.
Like, he's kind of going by facts and you're going by opinions.
No, it's not opinions. It's actually facts. Just because the majority is on that side doesn't mean that this side doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It still exists.
It's statistically irrelevant because it is a minority.
I understand it's a minority, but it still exists. That's my point.
We're not arguing that,
though. It still exists.
Why do women always make an argument for an exception to the rule when things work in a general sense and there's a majority?
I'm just saying that it still exists.
This is clown world logic. Yo, I don't want to sound like an asshole, but if something is statistically insignificant, it means it's insignificant and it doesn't matter. The scenario that you're displaying doesn't exist in 2023. We don't have two-parent households to the same degree that we do, and women initiate an overwhelming amount of the divorce. So what I'm simply saying is women are far more likely to leave in a relationship than a man is. That is a fact. That's not my opinion. Just because your parents stuck together doesn't mean that others will.
And just because those parents didn't stick together doesn't mean that others won't, is what I'm trying to say.
But the
even though the numbers say otherwise,
so then
I'm not saying it's not
This
existent.
is a perfect
That's
example
all
of
I'm
arguing
saying.
in bad faith. This is a perfect example of that.
I'm just saying it's
even
not
in the face of irrefutable numbers. Well, this is my opinion and this exception. Who cares about the exception?
I'm just saying it's you're saying it's non-existent just because of the facts.
I said it's irrelevant.
I don't think it's
There's difference.
irrelevant. I think if it's existent, it's relevant.
You think or you know?
I know if it's
No, you said you think twice.
okay. If
So you don't know.
if it exists, it's relevant.
Yeah.
And that's my point.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a very
And I live
minimum.
it, so I know. Probably you guys don't, but I live it, so that's why I'm coming from this way.
That's a very solipsistic way to view the world and is ridiculous and ludicrous.
Yeah.
Well, that's your opinion.
That is
So you speak for the masses.
That's like me saying I'm a multimillionaire, so world hunger doesn't exist. How stupid do
That's
I
not what
sound?
I'm saying. I'm saying
That
I'm
is
not
literally what
saying.
you're-
But
yes,
I'm
hold on,
not
stop.
saying I'm not
You're
saying your
making an
point doesn't
argument. You're
exist.
making
I'm
an
saying your
argument.
point exists,
You're-
but so does mine. So don't exclude the fact that mine exists. Is all I'm saying.
But here's the thing: making an argument for an exception to the rule, right, while not considering other factors, is ridiculous. Like, for example, if I was to say I'm a multimillionaire, world hunger doesn't exist, I would sound stupid because the majority of most people don't have money and or food, the ability to purchase food. So I'm not going to sit and attribute my personal situation to how the world works. But that's what you're doing.
My love, I'm not
I feel
saying,
like you're
I'm
kind of
not
doing
saying
that
it
to her
doesn't
in a way.
exist.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, you're kind of like she's
I'm
just
not
saying
saying
how
it
she
doesn't
feels because that's
exist.
how that's
How
just
she
I'm
feels
saying
isn't
you're-
real.
Doesn't matter.
It is real. She grew up like that.
Exactly.
So
So how are you going to tell me it's not real?
This is the perfect example of
just
how
trying to
men
say,
communicate and
like-
how women communicate.
So
we're talking about facts and statistics and how the
We
world
hear
works.
your facts. She
She's talking
agrees with
about-
your facts. She's just
talking
telling
about
you
her
how she
opinion
grew up and
how
that
she
part of her
feels.
life happened.
And I'm saying
And
how
it's
she grew up.
obviously
It's
It's
real.
not
irrelevant.
She
common.
grew up that way.
Okay, but what I'm saying is that is not
Her
common.
telling her little story, her little life story is not irrelevant. She's on a podcast. She's telling a little
This
part
is
of her life.
incredible. This is
remember,
incredible.
we're speaking generally to the masses,
Yeah,
right?
I understand
So generally
that.
speaking, that's
No, you
great.
don't.
Right, and
No, you don't.
She was basically
It
a
doesn't
mass
apply.
majority
agreeing with you.
should
She's just
see both
saying
sides
that
of the
there's
story,
another
right?
side of the
Because
story too.
There's
that
more
more
than
people
one
should.
side to every story.
no.
What are
And
they
just
gonna
because
experience?
numbers are saying one
No.
thing
Numbers
doesn't
are
mean
saying-
there's not another
You
side.
experience it, right? But what are they going to experience? Most people are going to experience single family homes, which is sad to say, but it's reality. And we're just
Okay.
saying, look, your story is great, but what's the point of you telling your story?
The point is that
More people
they
should be
can-
like her parents.
It
No.
exists.
The point is that
Try harder,
don't
people.
think that that's the only way to go about the future is a single family household. Think about it that the opportunity still exists. And in fact, I'm telling you that it exists because I've lived through it. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying, sure, yes, majority may be one way, but it doesn't mean that the other way doesn't exist because
You
it does.
do
That's
know
all
that your
I'm
parents
saying.
grew up in a different time, right? Your parents are in a different, like,
Okay, but
era.
but me, I'm not, right? And I'm again, like
Are
I
you
keep
married?
saying, I'm younger than both of you.
Are you married?
So for me to continue
Are you
having
married?
that, no, like you asked me
There you
before,
go.
I'm
Okay.
single.
Your mom was probably married at your age, wasn't she?
No,
She wasn't. When
No.
did she marry your guy? Your father?
I'm not sure. I can tell you, but they've been married 40 years.
What?
The math
How
isn't
old is
math
your
in here.
mom?
how old are your parents?
My dad's 70 something.
So
And your mom is how old?
They got married. I'll tell you this: they got married older than 20, than in their 20s, like in the age that I am. So
And they got married in Israel?
no, they got married in New York, actually.
Again, most people are not going to have the conventions that kept your parents together,
And I'm
religion,
not
family, all
countering
these
that.
things.
I'm just saying it exists. That's all I'm saying. It does exist.
So the unicorns.
But
So
it's
don't disregard it.
See, this is the thing. Like,
Yeah, but unicorns,
Like,
you have no proof of me.
this
I'm
is
telling you,
the
there's a
difference
living
between
proof.
men and women. Like, men understand that if their experience doesn't necessarily reflect reality, they're willing to admit my experience isn't valid in the grand scheme of things. Women, on the other hand,
You know what? For the
I
sake
want
of
my
the people,
experience to be
I'm gonna
valid.
let you. I'm
I want
gonna
my
let you have
experience to
this
be
one,
valid.
'cause
I want my experience to be
I
valid
don't
because
have
I'm
any more
special.
breath for
That's
that.
the difference between men and women. It's crazy to me how, like, we just witnessed a masterclass, and regardless of how educated a woman is, her feelings are always gonna override what she says, even in the face of irrefutable fact.